Cool. Okay, setting up. Thanks for coming, everyone. Who has never, ever done Kundalini Yoga before? All right, cool. Oh, good. A handful of people. All right, good luck. I'm just... Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's that for all of us. It's like good luck. It doesn't matter if you've done it a gazillion times or just once or twice or 0 times. I like to tell this story. Occasionally, I'll tell it because one time I was teaching a class right in this room, and it was just like this moment right now, and it was kind of full like this. So you can imagine if you were late and you walked in at this moment, and it was all quiet like right now. There's like a subtle awkwardness to the moment, isn't it? Isn't it? And so a guy comes in, and us guys were particularly, not insecure. And walks in, and he was real sweet, and I think he got a little nervous, and he was just like, I'm like a level 0. He just kind of like blurted it out. I'm a level 0. I was like, great, this is a level 0 class. Come have a seat. Because it is. There's no levels. I don't teach in levels in Kundalini Yoga. And my experience is there really isn't levels. Not in terms of like what you would actually do with the practice. Because there may be different levels of experience. And of course, if you've done it for a little bit, you may have a little more of a handle on, some technique and also how to get inside of the practice. But ultimately, we're all doing the same thing. We may have more advanced, there may be some more advanced experiences, but I don't think that is necessarily always or even usually influenced by how much or how long a person has practiced necessarily. Sometimes you have people come in and they've never done it ever, and just like it's like clicks, because I don't think this is a type of a practice that is not ultimately about the physical side of it, but you're using the physical side of it to get into the subtlety of it. But what even is it? You're just actually getting into the subtlety of you. And the only reason we're here today is because we want to come here for ourselves. Yeah, but ourselves may be about some bigger mission we got going on. And ultimately, everybody's mission has one thing in common. You're wired to do something. Like my wife's mission is through the medium of music, and she's a brilliant singer. Is like, if I thought that was my way I was going to get into my mission by being a singer, I'd be in trouble. And there was a time where I thought maybe I could even, I had a little guitar and sing, and then you get like, it's like me playing basketball. You think if you play against people that like are like you think you're somewhat good, and then real basketball players come in and you're like, oh. So anyhow, this isn't about any of that. Like what we're really here to do is number one, I think we should try to have a good time, because I think that's very important, to the best of our ability. And the reason being is the practice is already hard enough. But it's a lot. The practice itself isn't the hardest thing. The hardest thing is actually getting the much more deeper effects of the practice. Because I'm very confident we have a couple hours here today. It will go by like that. And then we'll be gone, and we'll drive safely home and do our things and enjoy the rest of our day. It's ultimately about, can you bring yourself into a space where you just organically enjoy life, no matter if life is currently difficult or currently not difficult, is to be able to find the joy in all sides and all aspects and all facets of living. And so, with that all being said, it's about you. And it's about you having experience of your own subtlety and your own brilliance and your own intuition and your own confidence and your own heart and your own joy and all of that type of thing. And the practice simply is a catalyst. We're in an alchemy class, so we talk catalyst. is a catalyst to get you into that space. Because this stuff isn't just like, okay, Alchemy or Radiance, it's a clever little title with a New Age ring. You know, it's something that's real. These are not New Age. These are things that are very, very, very old. And it's a science that has been, it's time tested. You know, things don't stick around for 5,000 years. And still people all over the planet in a growing numbers if they're not effective and they don't work. And so the last thing we want to do is be too rigid and too serious about things that get us into the space of our heightened sense of spirit and love, spirituality, whatever you want to call it. Because to get the deeper and the more difficult effects of the practice requires consistency. We'll get lifted today. And that's beautiful. And sometimes you'll have an experience in just one class, won't you? Where it's like, whoa, great. But that's ultimately superficial relative to the effects that you can get when you do the hard day in and day out grind over years and years and years, of course. So that's why I think not taking it too seriously, not being too professional and proper about it. Yeah, there's technique, there's some protocol, but protocol only when it's practical. You understand what I mean? When protocol is there because it's because it's protocol and it has no clear practicality to actually get us somewhere, then we just are creating dogmas. And the planet does not need any more of that. We have a surplus of dogmas on planet Earth, so we don't need to add to that. All we'd like to do is just figure out what is real and what is genuine to each of us and see if this is helpful somehow. That's all. Everybody's trying to get happy. Everybody's trying to find the happy that doesn't wax and wane depending on how painful my life or pleasurable my life is. And so you chase after the pursuit, you chase after pleasure, you could be successful only part of the time. And the rest of the time you'll be in pain. And if you avoid pain as your primary endeavor, or avoid discomfort, and these, of course, nobody, I think, is just like, all right, that's what my path is going to be. I'm going to try to pursue pleasure and avoid pain. Nobody does that. But we all do it subconsciously. That's why it's difficult. It's not about what is happening on the surface levels of our minds and our thinkings and our strategies. What this is about, this is a group of intelligent people. And it's not about making a person have a better strategy even. It's much more about how do you root out the self-sabotaging mechanism within the psyche that all of us have. And that's something to be real about, that every human psyche comes well equipped with a good self-sabotaging habit. And it happens in sometimes obvious ways and sometimes more subtle, non-obvious ways. And so it's about really getting underneath the surface of things and rooting out the deeper tendencies that the mind have that keeps us in the subconscious pursuit of pleasure and avoidance of pain. And the reason being is because that's a losing battle. You're on a polarity planet. Some of the time there's going to be pleasurable experiences, and some of the times there's going to be painful experiences. Some days your family's all together and you're all having a happy time and hanging out and just laughing, and then other days you're fighting and arguing, and that's okay too, because out of sometimes those arguments and fights come really important things, don't they? And so if we have our kind of psyche, whether consciously or subconsciously, set up, if we have the disposition that argument side of life, or that what I really think of just tension, is tension and release, tension and release. The tide goes in, the tide goes out. This is the laws of nature. But if our disposition to the tension side of life is that it's unwelcomed, I was going to say it's a negative. In a certain way, it is a negative. But negative's not bad, because if without the negative, you can't have a positive. So anyhow, If our disposition is that we actually are in pursuit of something more subtle than pain or pleasure, if we're in pursuit of something more subtle, and more subtle also means more powerful, and more subtle also means more consistent or more stable in a certain way. Because when you achieve that more subtle space of it's more like a blissfulness. It's not a blissfulness in like some fluffy or ecstatic way. It's a subtle space of content. It's almost like you build, and this is what we're working on today, build an electromagnetic field that holds the mind in a space of content. That's step numero uno. It's not the end all, but it's a good progress. If you build a field that holds the mind in a state of content, that you can even experience joy when things are painful. Everybody has those moments sometimes, don't we? Where you have maybe some incredible painful experience, but out of it comes love. Or even in the midst of it comes love. And maybe you wouldn't ask for it, but you also wouldn't ask for it to go. Because it's giving you too much. So now, what if we could start to create the life force conditions that would help the mind be in that space more often, to where there's not this constant like fight or flight response to living. Sometimes we're dealing with clinical depression or clinical anxiety, and that's difficult. But sometimes we're dealing with what I consider more like low-grade depression, low-grade anxieties that are chronic, but they're not strong enough that you could go to a Western medical practitioner and get them diagnosed. I mean, there's nothing wrong. But it's this kind of tolerating lacklusterness, this tolerating kind of business as usual. So if you're fine with that, you're probably in the wrong class, you know? But try it anyways. Because at this point, it'd probably be more difficult to leave. You'd have to walk out. We'd all look at you. Wonder where is she going or he going? Anyways, but do you see what I mean? So what we're trying to do is to penetrate through normalcy, really. And the tendency of tolerating our own personal misery. You know what I mean? Even the subtle misery. Because what a yogi is pursuing is conquering all misery and experiencing a permanence of joy. And in order to experience, and even to start to experience, a more permanent joy, we should be realistic. Then you have to also start to wrestle with your body's impermanence. Yep. No? Yes? No? I was just with my dad for the weekend, or week. It's just now the weekend, last couple of days. And we were hanging out in San Diego. And it's just amazing, the passage of time is when you're a child, it seems like you got forever to go. And then you just get a little bit older, and it's like, slow down, you know? And then Simran and I were looking at pictures last night and pulled one up that I took of her and her dad this last summer or something. She posted it earlier today on her, whatever it was, and you know, social media. And just like, I just showed it to her, and then I was watching some show on my iPad, and I looked over, and she's like bawling. She's crying, not in a bad way, you know. It was a good cry, because it's like, all right, looking at dad, who's like now 80, and life is like that. Whew, there it goes. That's a beautiful thing. Because if you kind of like shove that down under the carpet, because it's uncomfortable. See, that's the problem with the subconscious pursuit of pleasure. Nobody's consciously just saying my life to be about avoiding pain. But we subconsciously is like, ooh, that's uncomfortable. Push it under the rug. What is the underneath the rug in the human mind? It's the subconscious. So it's like, ooh, that's uncomfortable. Well, you got to deal with it, you know. But you might as well be embracive of it. Then it produces love. But if you push it away, it will still ultimately produce love, but it will create a lot of it's like a shook up soda bottle. And then when it explodes, there's a lot that you have to get through before it turns to love. But all emotion, energy is in motion, is energy in motion on the pathway to becoming love. That love is the ultimate end-all result for all emotions, including anger and anxiety and sadness and grief. Because on one side you have earth and water, and on the other side you have air and space. And in the middle you have fire element. And that's why the yogis in many regards consider fire the most important of the elements. And that's why the first word in the first book of the first Veda, which is the oldest known text that we have on our planet, is Agni, which means fire. Because what a yogi is doing is alchemy work. Really, is all your body is considered in a very simple and poetic way. Earth, water, fire, air, and space. It's a much more simple way to understand the body, and it's just as sophisticated as any sort of modern biological way of understanding the body is. You can study it for the rest of your life in the poetic sense of Ayurveda, and you'll never finish it. You'll never reach the end because it's a never-ending study. It's constantly alive. It's a living thing. It's not like, okay, this was written down and now we read it. No, it's a living thing. And that's why when we tune in to start the practice, you go, there's some sense of recognition that there is a living energy. There's something that created you. There's something that grew you in your mother's womb. There's something that moved you out of her mother's womb at the precise moment. That put your life in motion, that has ended you up here in this day and will continue on from here. It's trippy. And so, isn't it? To me it is. I don't know. And it is, you know, and the earth is rotating. What is going on? And the sun, what is going on, man? But that's cool, you know, because if it's just like mundane, and you lost the mystery of life, and things get bland, man, and lackluster. Mystery. That's why it's not about learning things and knowing things. It's far much more about not knowing things. Because because catch-22 is when you take the path of not knowing, you open up your intuitive mind. Is that we think we know everything, and so like our way is the right way and their way is the wrong way. Right? Our candidate's the right way and their candidate's the wrong way. And we're in this, we have these gripped mental channels that cause the polarity of life to become very dramatic. And so if you have a different political or religious persuasion than me, then we can't connect at all because our magnets are repelling instead of connecting, because everything is magnetic. You have an electromagnetic field. That's what you are. One pole at the tip of the spine and the other pole at the crown of the head. And so you can try to take it as business as usual, and you got this body, and then when you're done, the body dies, and what's then? Or you can get inside of it a little deeper and get into the mysterious and embrace all aspects and all facets of living, those that are pleasurable and those that are pain, and use them as catalysts to get into the mysterious, into the mystic, and into love, and see if we can use these experiences to help us just supercharge that part of our life, just get us going, you know, so then we'll keep going tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day on our own. And then we come back together to, all right, we need to boost up that momentum again. As in, you're together. When we're together, it's exponentially more powerful to practice in a group like this. It's undeniable. And yet, you have to have a personal practice, because without the personal practice, you're never sitting there by your lonesome with just you and whatever it is that you are and whatever it is that has created you. And you never get to wrestle with the deeper things. And you never get to develop the grit that you will need and is important, that comes from being consistent with your own discipline. So it's not fluffy, it's gritty. You know, it's not new age, it's ancient. And it's real. And it's what is needed on planet Earth more than anything else right now. Is human beings that are clear-minded, open-hearted, and not so goddamn polarized. And that's what yoga is all about, neutralization of polarity. So you can be embracive of other people. But if we put dogmas on top of this thing, then we're just creating more polarity, where like we're the yogis over here and then everybody else is over there, and we're going to create more repulsion. So it's about, all right, well, even if you look crazy like me, you can still like hang out with other people that don't look crazy like me. All right, so let's give it a shot, and let's see what happens. Now, last thing, any of these exercises are too difficult or you can't do them for any reason at all, who cares, no big deal, whatever. Just relax, modify anything you feel like you need to modify. If you have any injury or anything like that, please make that more important than doing the exercise. Don't risk aggravating any injury. If you just want to sit there and meditate, or if you want to even lay on your back, bueno, do whatever you feel works. Otherwise, just go all in, go deep. If you do have to disengage, what I encourage you not to do is to disengage energetically and mentally, you know, kind of stay in the space and enjoy it. Yeah? Don't be too uptight. It's not a big deal, and yet it's a really big deal. All right, let's go. All right, inhale, please. Exhale. Push the palms together and the knuckles of your thumbs into the sternum. And then the shoulder blades drop, and the heart is up, and the chin is slightly tucked, and the gaze is up and in, and you inhale deep. And exhale. Now inhale, please. Suspend the breath in and close the eyes and bring the gaze up and in between the eyebrows, where the root of the nose meets the skull bone, and lift up through the root lock, rectum, sex organ, navel, up and in. Drop the shoulders, open the chest, exhale, complete. Push the breath out, out, out. And keep it out for a moment. Keep the gaze lifted. Now inhale deep. And suspend the breath. Drop the shoulders. Open the chest. Lift the gaze. And be still as possible. Exhale. And push the breath all the way out and suspend it out. And see if you can just be calm with the breath out, even if you fake the calm. Inhale. And again, please be still and suspend the breath. Keep the chest relaxed, the breath suspended in, and the gaze lifted up. It's emptied, not knowing, not needing anything in particular to happen. Exhale. It's just about, can the real me come forward? Inhale. That real me is so potent, but so subtle. It takes a little flirtation. It takes a courtship of love and use the pain of life to just make you motivated. Inhale and exhale. Now, hold the posture, palms together as a neutralization posture. And put the two eyes into the third eye and let the breath flow smoothly and naturally without your interference. Keep the heart up and the shoulders back. It's a beautiful presence and posture. And the gaze is of the third eye. And you're letting the breath just move naturally. There's the two hands, the female and the male, and the negative and the positive press. And when the two eyes become one eye, then you'll enter the kingdom. Then, with that neutralization of the life force, the meditative mind prevails. Let the thoughts come. Let all the other stuff come. Resist nothing. Allow everything. But keep just listening to the breath and doing your best to put the gaze into the third eye. It's real cool. It's just me being me and allowing the infinity to flow through the finite vehicle that one day will be dust, but for now is a very important instrument for your living and for your experience and for the catalyzing of the consciousness. Catalyze a love. We'll chant, tune in, vibrate, which vibrates your forehead, frontal lobe, pituitary gland, and Namo, which vibrates the thymus gland at the center of the heart chakra. And then you say Guru, and Guru, the tongue flicks the upper palate, which is Guru, lights up the psyche, gives you awareness of real wisdom. And Dev comes from the infinite, and Namo makes you a receptacle of that. So just vibrate. You don't have to know any of that. It's just listen to the sound, vibrate the sound, forehead, center of the chest. Exhale. So now, all right, rock and roll. Let's go. Come onto your hands and knees. Let's start moving. So easy, cat-cow. You're gonna inhaling, the head is up. Exhaling, the head is down. It's a nice, smooth, rhythmic motion. It's not so much about a deep stretch as much as it's making suppleness of your spine.
All of myself, all of myself, all of my heart is with you. How can I go somewhere else into this life when all of my thoughts are with you?
Now breathe deeper. The breath is through the nose. And go at your own pace, though. Yeah? There's not a pause between the two positions.
In this life, I had many
Your focal point is the sound of your breath. Listen to the breath as the mind wanders. Listen to the breath. Sound of the inhale becomes sut. Sound of the exhale becomes num. Sut, num. And keep up. It's only 70 seconds to go. Make a rhythm with the soul, with some vibe. Not a big deal. Deeper the breathing, 20 seconds, please.
In this life,
Inhale, head is up. Now draw your gaze in between where the two eyebrows would meet and deeper into the skull. And push the under tongue against the roof of your mouth. It's a beautiful exhale, head is down, spine arches up, and push all the breath out. And with the breath out, pull your navel in towards your spine, squeeze a root lock in perineum area, rectum, sex organ. Beautiful, relax the forehead down to the earth, the butt back to the heels, and the palms come together. Again, you're working with your magnetism. So the postures, and the positions, and the exercises, and the breathing, and the mudras, and the palms, and the fingers, and the toes, is an instrument for magnetic energy. And our endeavor is to create the inner condition that magnetically draws to us the things that we came here to do and repels away from us the things that are in our way or not necessary. Come sitting up and sit on the heels. And hands are on your lap, chest is lifted, chin is in, and inhale like that, and exhale back. So your chin is slightly in, you're lifting the chest, lifting the sternum up towards your tucked chin as you inhale forward and exhale back. And the eyes are closed and the breath is powerful. Inhale for a moment. Exhale. I come back to easy pose. Let's try something different. Let's try something to kind of bring our energy together a little bit. Set. Nam. Set. Maybe you have the rhythm now. Set. Now, you're gonna do this. Hands in your lap. Back of the right hand into the left hand. Thumb tips touching. Posture is lifted. Eyes are open in this case, and just pick a single point in front of you, somewhere, and gaze at it, yeah? And it'd be like this. You pucker your lips and like, okay, good, relax. Now we're gonna do it where you're gonna inhale through puckered mouth, exhale through the nose, and when you exhale through your nose, you push out the breath pretty powerfully using your diaphragm and your navel. But the rhythm is, no. If it becomes overwhelming at all, like a little spacey, well, spacey, if you like that, that's okay, but like too much, like just relax, okay? All right. Almost there. In through the mouth, out through the nose. Eyes open. It's potent. It's called Brandara Kriya. To build the power of your excellence. The Dharma, the mission is already there. But we need the caliber to fulfill the mission, the energy to fulfill the mission. Build it. What are you here doing? 10 seconds. Inhale through the mouth. Now be still. Focus, but don't budge. Just stare at the point. Exhale. Very good. Again, inhale through the mouth. Now focus on the single point and be still. Exhale. Inhale. Now suspend the breath. Keep the breath in. Relax the chest otherwise. Heart wide open. Posture lifted. Vibe is serene. Radiant. Magnetic. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Now inhale, raise your arms up like this. Stretch your fingers tight. Drop the shoulders and touch the ceiling. Exhale, inhale, and then vigorously shake. Shake the arms, shake the whole spine. Move all that energy you just created to every cell, every fiber of your body. Now shake everything out that's been hanging around, that's not really useful, and in fact may be obstructive to your joy, your happiness, your beauty, your contentment. Shake powerfully, you're almost there, but it would be good if you'd be a little less cool and a little more energetic. Go. Okay. You guys are always cool. Can't stop you. Alright, very good. Who knew Nevada County had rhythm? That was good. Yeah, 3/4 beat, but you were going the 1/2. You guys were like John Bonham out there. Alright, hands are here. Chest wide open. We got a lot of Caucasian up here. We're not known for our rhythm, you know. Hands on your shoulders. Inhale left, exhale right. What are we known for? Other than great weed. I would say consciousness, you know. We've been here as a community since the 60s, lifting the vibes of planet Earth. Doing our best, at least. We had Swami Kriyananda, and Swami Vishnu Devananda, and we had the great, great, important hippies that came, and my teacher called the hippie revolution the greatest revolution of consciousness. He called them the martyrs of the Aquarian age. And that movement is still happening, but that's not the movement. That's a strand of the movement. The movement is the civil rights movement. The movement is the Gandhi movement. The movement is all freedom movement. It's the women's movement. It's just the love movement, but real love, you know, not sexy love. It's this love supreme, the love that vibrates in the nucleus of you, and it vibrates at the nucleus of existence. And a simple spinal twist is not a simple spinal twist. It unlocks that. If you gaze the third eye and you get some soul into it, inhale center and be still. Now be emptied like an emptied instrument, vessel, and lift the rectum, sex organ, navel, and push the under tongue against your upper palate and be still and raise the gaze. Exhale. Bravo. And hands onto your knees. And you're gonna every exhale, release the tension in the upper back and neck and shoulders.
Dani Baba Nanak tu hi Nirankar. Dani Baba Nanak
Through the nose, breathe.
tu hi Nirankar.
All right, inhale, squeeze up. Squeeze up. Exhale.
Tu hi Nirankar Baba.
Is it hot in here? It's hot. You can turn the fan on. I just didn't. Maybe I was just overdressed. All right, hands are on your knees and heart is lifted and just like this. Relax the jaw and relax the tongue. You need not know like what these mantras mean. It's like with knowing nothing, you know, you can hear it's a love song. And go the other direction. Oh, good. And inhale to the center and come standing. The rhythm here is simple, yes. Nice. Now your hands are going to be index finger to thumb, eyes open. You can pick any point. Nasa, 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 like that, yeah? Power the breathing, eh? Get those knees up to hip level because you're going to move the blood in the body. This time of the year, sometimes the blood isn't circulating enough. Sometimes the blood gets stagnant. Purify the blood with the breath. Make the breath lighten the blood and move the blood. Whenever you move your big thigh muscles, it'll make your heart pump. Yes, and that. But now you're doing a Gyan Mudra. You got soul, and it's also lifting the pranic life force up into the heightened centers. Win-win. Why not? If we're going to do aerobics, we might as well lift the prana into the heightened centers, yeah? Otherwise, we'll just go to jazzercise. Keep up. Keep going. Almost there, friends. You want to get to the point where you don't want to do it anymore. And then keep going. Right? Because otherwise, how do you come out of hibernation? How do you move the threshold of vitality? If you always stay at the same place, you got to push a boundary, an edge, in a contained way, an intelligent way. That's it. Almost there. Inhale, stretch up. That was awesome. Exhale. Okay, now you're going to face this wall. And Charlotte, you don't have to, though. Maybe you stay this way. All right, so it's like this. Her legs are strong, and her arms are engaged, and her fingers are tensed, okay? And you inhale to the center, and then you exhale like that. And now she's going to use her core, and so she's coming up off of her left leg. She's going to use the strength of her left leg and her core strength to help lift her up, and she's going to deep inhale. Yeah, fill the lungs. And then you go the other side. But make no mistake about it, these are core strengthening exercises, even more so than they are stretching exercises. Okay, and give it your best shot. Inhaling up and exhaling. Y'all may have to stagger yourself to do this. If your arms don't spread out all the way because you hit somebody, that's okay. Just modify how you need to. Deeper the breathing, better the effect. Every inhale, fill your lungs. Yes. Don't miss out on the core strengthening because you're wanting to go faster. Better to slow it down a little and get that core involved. Almost there. But out of everything, of primary importance is the breath. Center, up, inhale. Exhale. Great job. Good. Okay, come. I think we're ready now. Let's come sitting. Well, just one more first for this Kriya. So you're gonna have your arms up 60 degrees. It's the best. And your thumbs are up and your fingers are tucked. Because there's nothing more effective to lift the life force than to do it with physically and instead of just mentally. You know, to try to relax your arms for a moment, to try to change yourself with willpower alone is very difficult. Very, very difficult. So instead we try to bypass the intellect to some degree because the intellect gets in the way more times than not. It's too thinking, so much thinking. So we're bypassing that. That's the idea. Thoughts come, okay, you hit them with the mantra. This is why the mantras are so important. And in fact, I often don't say this with new folks because I don't want them to think it's weird, but mantra is probably the most important part of it because more important than any other part, what yoga is doing is primarily about the mind. Important is the body, even more important is the mind. And if you think about it, your ability to have joy in your life is all about the mind. Real joy. Because even if the body breaks down and the body is giving you pain, if you have blissfulness, you'll still find joy. You can avoid pain, but you can create joy. And you can create love. And so we're trying to bypass the mind to get the life force lifted up in through the channels so that it expands you, expands the field and expands the perspective on life. That's what it does. So you don't have to believe in the aura or any of that if you don't want to, because it makes no difference. All we're looking for is effect. So am I happier? Okay, good. If that was the aura, fine. But am I happier? Am I consistently happier over time? And that means because I have a bigger perspective on life and on what I am and on what life is. It's more sophisticated. It's broader. It's not narrow-minded. It's broad-minded. And so if we can get the life force lifted up, this is why I think it's so important and so crucial that it starts. I mean, because when I was a teenager, I wouldn't listen to anyone. Yeah, but somebody could get me high, I'd be into it. Or get me lifted or make me feel better. Not necessarily get me high with substances, but just, you know, I'm not into people telling me what to think and believe. I'm just one of those types of people. It doesn't really work. For me, personally, I'll go the opposite direction most of the time if I don't resonate with it. But if you could say, all right, man, just put your arms up and do this. All right? Either that or, you know, go back to in-school suspension or whatever it was, you know. You know what I'm saying? It's a good alternative because you're not telling anybody anything. You're just saying, push this lever that way, push that lever this way, and then you get your own experience of yourself. And you feel confident, you feel full of life, and then you tend to do things that are wise. You tend to move in a wise direction. Not all the time, but it becomes more of a tendency. You start doing more brilliant things. And it's just, that's simple electricity. That's simple just not telling anyone anything in particular other than, you are beautiful. I believe in you. And if we can just like pop this thing open a little bit, the light will come out of your eyes. So that's what this stuff is really all about, because we're not saying anything other than, all right, if you can hold your arms up at 60 degrees. All right, no big deal. 3 minutes a day. And within that 3 minutes, at some point, you'll be like, want to just go, ugh. But what we're saying is actually don't go, if possible. If you do, okay, cool, no big deal. But if you stay up and you move through that threshold where you want to stop, but you don't stop. And you focus and you keep going. And you keep, to the best of your ability, not perfect probably, but to the best of your ability, keep the gaze up and to the third eye with some sense of relaxation. So if you draw your eyes up and in, where the root of the nose meets the skull bone. But then you also kind of relax into that a little bit. You don't try to grip it. You know, it's not forcing your gaze anywhere. It's just drawing the eyes. Try it, and then just kind of relax there. God bless you. And you bring your arms up to 60 degrees. And then you drop the shoulders, but you extend the arms. You drop the shoulders, but extend the arms. And you're doing your best to keep that gaze into the 60 degree, or into the third eye. It's also 60 degrees. Ladies, if you're on your moon cycle, though, instead of breath of fire, do long, deep breathing. And we're going to inhale deep. Exhale. Open the chest. Drop the shoulder blades. Extend the arms. Inhale. It's a 3-minute experience. Sutton, 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 Sutton. Yeah, make the heart out. The most painful thing for a teacher is to see the potential of radiance lying dormant. And the most fulfilling thing is to see that potential be ignited. There comes the passion of a teacher. Yeah, man. blend in the elbow. Refocus. Less than a minute to go. Renew your commitment. Re-engage the mind. Now expand the field. Visualize an arc of light connecting the two thumbs, and then the deeper the focus, the brighter it becomes. Imagine. Now your entire magnetic field, imagine it vibrating, brilliant, beautiful energy and light in every direction. 20 seconds, go. Inhale. Thumb tips touching. Open the fingers wide and tighten the fingers like steel. Push the under tongue, upper palate. Inhale some more. Lift the root lot, rectum, sex organ, navel. Drop the shoulder blades down the back, and yet touch the ceiling with your fingertips. Exhale. Relax. Amazing. You know, when you imagine, you're using the subtle part of fire element. When you imagine, what is the dense part of fire element? If you would just entertain these semantics. These are not rigid semantics. What is a dense fire element? All right, liver toxicity. Yeah? Blood toxicity. Say like skin problems. All have to do with fire element. What's also a dense fire element would be, say, passive-aggressive, chronic passive-aggressive behavior. This is stuck. Maybe that's even a better word for it in that case, like stuck fire element. So you have fire. It's going to express itself. The question is, in what regard? Is it going to express itself in its most subtle and most desirable form? That's called radiance. It gives brightness to your mind, makes things crystal clear, makes people really drawn towards you. Not just people, but like the entire creation is drawn towards you. That's called prosperity. So, fire element is going to express, but is it going to express in a way where it makes luster of the skin, brightness of the eyes, warmth of the presence? That's also the heart. What is the heart circulating? Blood. True? Yeah. So what is blood doing? Well, it's providing nutrients to all the different cells and organs, but what happens if you have poor blood circulation? Do you feel warm or do you feel hot? Cold. Do you feel warm or do you feel cold? Feel colder, yeah? Cold hand. So even the physical organ, the heart, is a fire organ. So this is, remember, first word of the first book of the first Veda is fire. It's in the middle. Is on one hand you got earth and water, and the other hand you got air and ether. And largely what alchemy science, which is Ayurvedic science, is about is how do you build a container for the most desirable expressions of fire element. And that most subtle and the most desirable expression of the fire element is called to the yogis a radiant body. And that radiant body is what gives you courage. It makes your purpose, your sense of mission here, absolutely apparent to you. Not necessarily intellectually apparent, but you know what to do today. Do you understand? You know what your next step is, because that's the only thing that's real and important. I may not be able to like write what it is in like a mission statement or an elevator pitch, but it's something that you feel, you know it in your bones, and you're not confused. That's not an intellectual phenomenon. That's an energetic phenomenon. And so that's what we're much more interested in as a yogi, is the energetic phenomenon that produces real radiance. And you feel attracted towards yourself. This builds the real self-confidence, because it's not a confidence that comes from ego. It's a confidence that comes from the most subtle part of life, the everlasting part of life, the non-dying part of life. It comes from the infinite. Call it God, call it whatever you want to call it, but make sure you experience it, because without experiencing it, whatever you call it won't have any penetrative power. You understand what I mean? Won't feel real. Yeah. So, that's all. Come on to your back. I apologize for the next few exercises. No, they're not that bad. They're great, amazing exercises. What a great day to be inside doing yoga, yeah? And also Life Force Academy. It's happening? We're good. We got there's also hundreds of other people that are taking this class with you right now, all over the planet. We are like in over 20-something countries, aren't we, with the Life Force Academy? So I'm just kind of delaying this next exercise. Fortunately, I don't have the room to demonstrate it up here. So you can see Charlotte. What you're going to do is lift your legs up to about 12 inches, so it's higher than stretch pose, and then the legs stay straight and engaged, and then they crisscross. Ching, 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 ching. Oh, it's such a, ordeal. But these are the most amazing exercises, like the Master Your Domain from Joy the Infinite. That's beautiful. Thank you. These navel core strengthening exercises work magic, but they're very difficult, especially if you don't do them. But if you do them a couple weeks, then they're not that difficult anymore. It's just like we don't do them, and then we come in here and do them, and we're like, Lord Jesus, help me. And he may. But you're going to just do your best. If it strains your lower back, bring your hands, make your hands into fists, and put them under your butt, okay? And that'll help you some. All right, but just do your best. If you have to come out of it, when you can come back into it and rock on. Okay, hold on. Let's get some music at least going. Here we go. All right. The breath will take care of itself, but do breathe through the nose and breathe powerfully. The head stays on the ground. Raise the legs 12 inches up and crisscross. The breath can be with the rhythm of the movement. It can be deeper, but it must be through the nose. Keep the legs strong.
And I can't be seen.
You're almost there. Do your best.
And can't be heard.
Saturday is the day of Saturn, the taskmaster. It's an excellent day for this type of exercise. These first two exercises move the Kundalini energy from the lower three centers. 5 seconds. Now both legs 12 inches, inhale, and contract the root lock, rectum, sex organ, navel. Now pull the navel in deep, pull the navel deep, 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 relax. Amazing job. Now relax all the way for a few moments. Arms out, legs out. Relax the face and the jaw, relax. Okay, here's where you practice the power of your positive mind. You repeat the first exercise, okay? So you're gonna you just kind of fake yourself and you go, all right, yes, okay? Bring your legs up again. After this one, you're home free, man, all right? So now this time is even better breathing. Remember, the breath is the catalyst that makes the alchemy work. So, if you even can't do the posture so well, or you have to rest, keep your breath going deep. Stay engaged chronically. All right, bring the legs up, 12 inches. Amazing job. Keep going. Beautiful. Powerful breathing. Yes. If you work your navel power and you start adding these types of exercises to your life, your vitality changes, your energy level changes. 15 seconds. Inhale, 12 inches. Come on, legs strong. Pull the navel in tight. Root lock, deep, deep, deep. Exhale, relax. Wow. Great. Relax. Next exercise, far more humane. You're gonna, this time like a push-pull motion, you see? And she can still use her hands underneath her to support her, and it's inhale, the left leg goes out, exhale, the right leg goes up. This is a good rhythm for this exercise as well. All right? Are you excited? Yeah. All right, go. It doesn't matter actually, but you inhale one leg out, exhale the other leg out. That's the rhythm. But you breathe down into the abdomen navel area. Good, powerful breath, last few moments. Build your core vitality. Move the pranic energy with the breath. And inhale and relax. That was incredible. Relax for a couple minutes here. Please rest. Kriya moves the Kundalini energy from the lower three chakras in the first and second exercises, which you've completed, through your heart center in the third exercise, and through the throat chakra to the higher centers, pineal and pituitary glands, in the fourth exercise. Mental projection and meditation are automatic afterwards. So we're trying to bring ourselves into the space to where not only can you use positive imagery, remember, imagery comes from fire element. You always have an image of yourself, whether it's conscious or subconscious. It comes from the fire tattva, fire element. And so the secret to the Kundalini experience is it changes your sense of identity, your sense of imagery, of how you image yourself, of how you are imagined and reimagined into a more close representative of what you actually are, which is beyond the mind, beyond the thoughts, beyond anybody's ability to think of it, and then beyond even our own ability to think of ourselves. It must come through the experience. So then the mental meditative projection can use the faculty of imagery or imagine to create experience of radiance. It's not fake, it's using fire, it's harnessing the fire tattva, because otherwise it's subconsciously imagining a low version of that. It can create this low self-esteem. We can start to have negative imagery of ourselves that we allow to perpetuate within the tendencies of the psyche. So we want tendencies of the psyche that continue to imagine ourselves as the bright and beautiful being that we actually are. But do you have the pranic power that is able to fuel that? This is the idea. The hardest part of the series is the beginning, the first two. You may have a sore stomach, it says, and weak legs, but you'll be in excellent shape. Do what you can do and do it gracefully, and breathe consciously throughout these. The sexual and digestive energies require work to balance. As you do the next exercise, feel all the worries of your day drop away. So hug your knees to the chest. And you're going to bring yourself up, rock and roll a couple times to come up into easy pose. All right, here we go. So you're going to interlock your hands, and here we go again with this pressurization. The challenge here is gravity. We'll start to go this way, and you're trying to go this way, and that tension can create a very beautiful experience if you can maintain it. So you're going to close your eyes and stretch the palm side of your hand upward. And inhale deep. And like this, like breath of fire. Now it's important that the gaze is lifted into the third eye. Keep the shoulder blades dropped down, but otherwise stretch up. And the navel's like a pranic pump to lift the life force up. As you do that, feel the worries of your day drop away. Imagine that like you're rising above the clouds and that your whole body is filled with lightness and energy. Make the navel into the rhythm and make it like a pranic life force pump. Chest out. Chin slightly in, shoulder blades released. Feel like all the worries of the life are just floating away. You're both powerful, but also relaxed. You're combining power of the breath, relaxed mind, power of the breathing, the posture, relaxed face. 30 seconds. That's good. Gaze up the top of the head, eyes closed. That just means bring your attention to the top of your head. Where attention goes, the prana flows. Inhale. Root lock up and in. Exhale and relax. Wow. Very amazing. Only one more exercise and we'll go on our backs. Thank you. All right? This is my favorite though of this series. I love it. So what you're going to do is you bring to the best of your ability, you bring your right hand onto your left shoulder blade, or in the direction of your left shoulder blade, and your left hand onto your right shoulder blade. But then you got to push your chest out, because this is the Kriya, the exercise that then you're now pulling that life force up through the throat into the brain centers. So it needs a little pressure from the posture and then the outward moving chest. Like that. Slightly in with the chin, chest out. Inhale. Feel the life force energy lift into your head and consciously project your mind into an expanded peacefulness. It's only a minute to go. Could you please go for the final minute and devote your entire concentration and your heart into the exercise? Lift the gaze up into the third eye, breath of fire rhythm. Expand the mind, project the mind. 10 seconds. Hold the posture, inhale. Hold the posture, exhale. Now please inhale, hold the posture, mentally circulate the energy through your body up into the brain. Hold the posture, exhale the breath out. Stay with me, hold the posture, push it out, out. Now lift the root lock with the breath out. Rectum, sex organ, navel. Now inhale deep. Exhale complete. And keep the breath out. Now lift the root lock. Open the chest, lift the gaze. Inhale deep. Fully exhale. And push all the breath out. Now lift the lock, lift the life force. Inhale. And please relax. Amazing. Come Shavasana on your back, relaxation.
ਜਿਉ ਜਾਨੋ ਤਿਉ ਰਾਖ ਹਰ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਤੇਰਿਆ ਕੀਤੇ ਗੁਨੋ ਅਸੰਖ ਅਵਗੁਣ ਮੇਰਿਆ ਹਮ ਅਵਗੁਣ ਭਰੇ ਏਕ ਗੁਣ ਨਾਹੀ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਛਾੜ ਬਿਖੈ ਬਿਖ ਖਾਹੀ ਮਾਇਆ ਮੋਹ ਪਰਮ ਪੈ ਭੂਲੇ ਸੁਤਦਾਰਾ ਸਿਉ ਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਲਗਾਈ ਇਕ ਉਤਮ ਪੰਥ ਸੁਨਿਓ ਗੁਰ ਸੰਗਤ
palms and make some heat, and rub the soles of the feet and make some heat. And cat stretch to each side. And hug the knees to the chest and rock a couple times. Come up. Okay, here we go. Grand finale. Really thankful that you guys for coming today. Thanks for being here. It's very inspiring to spend the afternoon with you guys doing this stuff. So thanks for being here. We're gonna do it, I think, more often on these types of weekend workshops here locally. So we'll let you know. And then, we created a Life Force Academy initially because of that problem of consistency, or that challenge of consistency and understanding. Well, it will get lifted today, but the real stabilized lifted comes with consistency over long periods of times. And so here we are. And who did the last 40 days? How many people? Oh, they're good. Well, this is going to be new for some of y'all. We're not going to even do the whole 11 minutes, but we just did this as one half of the 40-day challenge that started on New Year's Day in the Life Force Academy. We're going to do, it's a little different today. We're going to do part of that, we're going to do a modified time of that meditation, and then we're going to be doing the Solomon's Seal, Half Star of David, pineal gland meditation. How's that sound? And then we'll say Satnam, see you later, have fun. We'll be done. All right, but that's what we got ahead of us, and it's already a quarter till, so it can't last for that long. So just go as deep as you can, and maybe see if for these last 15 minutes-ish, could be 20, but it won't be more than that why not, let's just all be fully here, because whatever we're going to after this will be there when we get there. But we're here anyways, so we'll extract the most out of it if we actually are here. Yeah? Why not? So here's what you're going to do for about 7 minutes. You're going to be eyes closed, and it goes like this. When she starts chanting, you're going to left hand on top of the right, then exhale down. Both breath, inhale and exhale through the O-shaped puckered mouth. And it looks like this, eyes closed. Just like that, okay, to the rhythm of the mantra. It's called to clarify the subtle body. Subtle body, the part of you that is the long-lasting part of you, the part of you that the more subtle you become, the more the part of you that is non-dying is real to you. The part of that becomes the predominant part of your experience of yourself. Still, there's a part of us that will die. There's a body that's also a real part of ourselves. But when the subtle part of your being becomes even more important than the dense part of your being, not only is that important for some unknown future time of death, but it's important for today, because that is the ingredients or the condition that causes happiness, real long-lasting happiness to flow. Because as long as the mind subconsciously is gripped to the material, the finite, both here and here, then I'll continue to be in the perpetual cycle of kind of happy, kind of miserable, kind of happy, kind of miserable, that type of thing. This powers over that, yeah, powers through that. He said, this is the body that brings you good news. He said, do this, you'll be so shiny and bright. People will not be in a position to look at your face. That was the quote. But give it a try and see. I called it the body that collects the universe for you. 7 minutes, full power. Use the navel and the diaphragm to exhale the breath in through the puckered mouth, O-shaped mouth, out through the O-shaped mouth. Purify the field, brighten and strengthen the magnetic field. Third eye. Brighten, brighten. With the soul and the rhythm. on top of the rope. Full power. Seconds. Inhale, interlock your hands above the head. And drop the shoulder blades and stretch out and around. Like a cannon out the mouth. Exhale. Inhale through the mouth. Stretch up. Release the shoulder blades down the back. Lift the root lock. Stretch around. Fire out. Last time. Raise the gaze. Stretch out and around. Exhale. Relax. If you need to stretch your legs up, please do so. And final part here. So this meditation, this is from Yogi Bhajan. This meditation can make one a very beautiful person and a natural healer. Practicing it on a regular basis will make you perfectly healthy and wise. This half star of David was given to Hazrat Avram, Abraham, the first guardian angel of the Hebrews, by Sarah when he went to Egypt. It was an original part of the Sabbath candle lighting ceremony. Anyone Jewish here or grew up Jewish? Yeah, me too. So on Sabbath evening, Friday evening, there's usually the women light the candles and they do this hand movement and say the prayers, the blessings. And according to Yogi Bhajan, he was saying here that this was an original part of the Sabbath candle lighting ceremony. The science of yoga is hidden in all the great scriptures of the world, but it must be practiced and experienced so that the knowledge is not lost to the coming generations. So here we go, an 11-minute thing, and we'll see how it goes. It's very beautiful. It's not that difficult. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your thumb pads together index finger pads. By pads, I mean the first section of the finger. And then the middle finger. So that's thumb, Jupiter, Saturn. Thumb, index, middle finger, all pressed together. And the ring and the pinky, which is Sun and Mercury, stretch out. And then you hold that so the thumbs are pointing at the center of your chest, heart center. And the other fingers are stretched out. Then you close the eyelids and you concentrate on the crown of your head, which is the access point to your pineal gland. And so that just means where attention goes, prana goes. Put your attention on the crown of your head, and you're going to inhale, it's long and deep, and then you're going to suspend the breath in for as long as possible, and then you're going to slowly exhale, and then you're going to inhale again, and then you're going to suspend the breath in as long as possible, and then you keep doing that. So you don't suspend it in so long that you're gasping for air, but as long as possible that you can keep going. Do you understand the meditation? Have anything unclear? All right, here we go. Enjoy. So your hands in the mudra, and you're inhaling. Suspend the breath in as long as you can. That means keep the breath in, but relax your upper body with the breath in. And be as still and relaxed as possible, because you're letting the life force do the work for you, bringing yourself into zero, neutral, shunya. And the more still you can keep the body, the more the current can flow. Chest is out. Chin is slightly in. It's a relaxed posture. It's a beautiful posture. It has a royal presence, queens and kings. Focus on the crown of your head, the top of your head. Where your attention is distracted, bring your attention back to the crown of the head and the breath.
Who do you think you are? If you know yourself, who do you think you are? Do you know yourself? Do you know everything? Do you think you know everything?
Make sure your exhales are complete. Don't start the next
Do you
inhalation
have to know
until you
everything?
fully exhale all the last bit of the breath.
We don't know nothing. We don't know anything.
With the breath suspended in,
We don't know anything.
be like an emptied vessel and let the universe
We
move through
don't
you.
know anything.
Be like an antenna, fingers firm.
Who do you think you are?
A conduit for brilliance, consciousness, love.
Who do you think you are? Do you know your soul? Do you know your soul? Do you know where you know your soul? Do you know your soul? Guru, Guru, Waheguru, Guru Das Guru, Guru,
Do not budge. Be like an antenna. Heart wide open. Focus, last couple minutes.
Humble me, Guru. 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 Humble me, humble you.
And inhale deeply. Exhale. Now inhale deeply and be completely still like an antenna. Crown of the head focus. And hold the posture. Exhale. Inhale. Suspend the breath. Be empty. Still. Crown of your head. Exhale. Last time. Then crown of the exhale and relax. And bring your hands to prayer pose.
May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on. So now, all right, that's a wrap. Thanks so much for coming. Take your time, hang out, get some water. Definitely make sure your feet are on the ground before your keys are in the car.
Uh, easy driving. Go slow. See you soon. I'll be here Monday and Thursday. And do we have the space at the immersion still? There's a couple spots, a handful, something like that. 10 or 15 spots. We cut it off earlier in the year at 100 and something, and we were able to open up 50 more spots. So those 10, 15 of those are still left. Immersion, Shady Creek, June 6th, right? And it's up the road. I think this is the best thing we do every year, all year. And so anyway, you're interested, let us, you can go to the website, yeah? Or talk to us. See you soon. Satnam. Next 4-day challenge in the Life Force Academy starts later this month. The webcast to begin it is on the equinox. You can do that from home, anywhere you live. That's the 22nd this month. Okay, love you, Satnam. Thank you for coming.
2, 3, 4.